The name Zozobra means gloom or anguish. Zozobra is created from us. Every time we let ourselves down and we create gloom in our lives, or we create gloom in other people's lives, we put out this negative energy, and that negative energy accumulates until you have this 50-foot specter. Tony Hillerman, who's a very famous author, he once said that, if Zozobra didn't burn, the aspens may not turn yellow, winter may never come. For us, Zozobra is Santa Fe's New Year. People tell me that they make resolutions the day after Zozobra, right? It's kind of crazy, but it's that importance of renewal. The tradition was started by a man named Will Schuster. He was born in Philadelphia, got drafted into World War I, went to France and was mustard gassed in the trenches of France. Came back to Philadelphia and was told that he had about 6 months to live. His lungs were so bad. And so he had a choice. He could either stay in Philadelphia and die, or he could move out west and see if he could live. So he moved to Santa Fe, and Schuster became part of what was called Los Cinco Pintores. And it was really the artist that really started Santa Fe down the path of becoming the art enclave that it is today. And it's pretty funny because when they started, of course, there was not really a market for art, and so they were very poor. And so the 5 painters lived together, and the locals would call them 5 nuts in a hut. Well, on Christmas Eve of 1923, Schuster sold a sculpture that he'd been working on for about 6 months. And so he goes to his compatriots and he says, hey, you know what, I'm tired of eating rice and beans. This new hotel, La Fonda, just opened up downtown. Let's go have tequila and have actual, steak. So they get to La Fonda and they're drinking and they're eating, and everyone's just in a really bad mood. And Schuster's really upset with this. And so he grabs a sketch pad, which he always carried with him, and he takes out pieces of paper and he hands it to each of his compatriots, and he demanded that they write down what was bothering them. And after some convincing, they did it. And then he gathered it up in the middle of the table. He grabbed the candle and he lit it on fire, and he declared that all of their gloom was gone. And so this was kind of the spark in Schuster's mind that you could physically write down what was bothering you and burn it away. He just needed a kind of a vessel in order to do this. And so the first Zozobra takes place in Will Schuster's backyard, and it's only 5 feet tall. But by 1926, now Zozobra has grown to 20 feet, and it's on the banks of the Santa Fe River with the cathedral over Zozobra's shoulder. And so Schuster's starting to think about, how do I get a deeper meaning into this? And so that's when he invents these other characters, the Gloomies and the Torchbearers and the Fire Spirit, and it all comes together in this mythology that we have today. I think that he understood, even back in the 1950s and 1940s, that there had to be an opportunity for people to come together as a community.
You ready? Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Up. Okay, we're coming this way. Can you guys make room, please?
But also an inflection point for just looking back and kind of thinking about what it means to be a human being. And as we've gotten into our social media, TikTok, 40-second world, we just don't interact as humans anymore. And so I think anything that takes us out of that and just pushes the pause button on that and puts us back with our community and gives us an opportunity for self-reflection, I think that that's really, really important. Traditions live and breathe by the fact that you have people who are involved. We have like 4 or 5 young men, 9 years old, 8 years old, 16 years old, that are coming to help us construct. That's going to be the future of this tradition. And so any way that we can incorporate the community, we want to, because Kiwanis is the legal title owner, but New Mexico is the equitable owner of Zozobra. And so they have to be involved. They have to be able to touch and feel and do those things, because without that, our tradition would die. What was really important to Will was the fact that Zozobra was not a martyr. He wasn't somebody that was just going to sacrifice. We had, just as we created him, we had to do him in. We had to show up. We had to give that fire spirit that juice to be able to destroy him. And if we don't, Zozobra will win. Part of what's really important is still this idea of writing down your gloom. It's something that's really sacred. And people will bring us old love letters. They'll bring us divorce papers. They'll bring us, wedding albums with people cut out. I've seen all these sorts of things. But I will tell you that my most emotional gloom was a Zozobra day where a security guard came and got me and said that there was this woman there, and she asked if she could see me. And as I approached her, I thought she was holding this little blue blanket in her hand. And when I got there, she explained to me that she had stage 4 cancer, and that her doctor had basically said, that this is it. She needed to make preparations for passing away. And in order to emphasize the point, he pointed to her hospital gown and said, "That'll be the last article of clothing that you ever wear." And hearing that did something inside her where she decided she was going to fight back, that she wasn't done living. And so she actually went into remission, and she'd been in remission for 2 years. And it wasn't a blue blanket, it was her hospital gown. And she was asking me to put it inside Zozobra. And she said, is that okay? Can I put it in? And I said, no. And she kind of looked shocked. And I said, no, you need to put this into him. And so I walked her to Zozobra, and she put that hospital gown. And I remember that year, as I ignited him, I was able to see that hospital gown burn. It was quite emotional. Zozobra is not the embodiment of evil. He's in the embodiment of gloom. And I love that word because gloom is it's in the grayscale. It's not black, it's not white, because there's lots of things that cause you gloom, right? And so what that says to me is there's a belief that as human beings, we are good. But we do these things that cause ourselves worrying and anxieties, and we do these things that cause other people that. And so if you're able to then take a step back every year and say, okay, am I going to be more like Zozobra and continue to put gloom into the world? Or am I going to be more like the fire spirit and put light and hope into the world? You look around our nation, you look around our world, there's all these things that divide us. But there's so much more that actually unites us. And when we come together and we interact just as human beings, we realize that again, that we're all in this together. We only have a little limited time on this small rock. We all want to be loved, we want shelter, we want to be, cared for. And when you have a community event that does that and places people together, it reminds them of our humanity. And I think that that's critical to everything that happens going forward. So I think that if Schuster were here, I think he'd be very proud of us.